What's up, guys? In this video we got a 2002 Yamaha SuperJet round nose. This ski we built up, I believe, 2 years ago. When we first got it, bought it from some owner that didn't really know too much about jet skis, and it did not look like this, let's just put it that way. When we first went to get it, he said it was turnkey, mint, but it was very corroded by salt, which I do not run salt water. We're only fresh water. And also, when we went to get it, up in the bow, which you can't really see too much anymore, but all this paint that's flaking, there was a massive crack that went all the way through underneath the tubbies. So we had to pull the tubbies off, reseal the tubbies, had this down to a bare hole, refiberglass, which you can kind of see right there where the screws are. But we re-glassed the whole nose of the ski. The crack wasn't horrible, but it was definitely taking on water. But with that said, we put dual bilges in this. It had them at the time. They were not wired correctly at all. The only reason why we're running them is just because they were already drilled, so why not? It had the head on it. It had a B-pipe, but like I said, it was disgusting. So we went out, bought a new B-pipe. This one doesn't look much better, just from sitting over the winter. But I'll get to that reason. We had the B-pipe powder coated, and it still has stock 38 carbs on it, but we did add Boysen reeds, I believe. I don't remember what reeds are in there. Might have been Boysen pedals we put on there, or some type of reed cage. I could look back at the paperwork. Then we just did an MSD ignition, and it came with an RP pole, which I'll show you in 1 second. But it also did not look like this. There was no paint left on it whatsoever, to the point that we just had it sandblasted and powder coated. We just did a hammered look on it to hide some of the imperfections, and then we went out and bought aluminum tubings, and we had to add our little sticker to it. New chin pad. Did a quick steer RP with straight bars. Explosion throttle. Just giving a recap since you guys have never seen this ski before. But in today's video, the reason why I'm taking it out of the woods basically is to fix a problem that we had. So last spring when we were running this boat, I kept feeling it bog for some reason and couldn't figure out why. Brought it in, there was nothing wrong with it when I was running it. Couldn't figure out if there's any leaks in there. There's always a little bit of water, but it was kind of normal with the ski because we were subbing it a lot. But I found out that when you put it under a load, when you had one guy holding each side of the ski and someone sitting up front and you give it like quarter throttle, right in here where you can see the pink antifreeze and the rust, it was like a geyser. If I could get my finger in there, you could see that the gasket has split. Now, I could be wrong, but I believe this happened due to the fact of me not knowing at the time that this is a Frankenstein motor. If you don't know what that is, it's when they take a 62T bottom end, which is dual carbed with 38s on it instead of 760 with 44s and a lot of other porting stuff that we don't need to talk about. Anyways, but it's a 62T bottom end and a 61X top end. The port timing is different. People run this sometimes for freestyle boats, which I did not know at the time. So I put a 62T gasket on this, which gave it a lot of wiggle room through the bolt size difference. So that being said, I think it just rattled around, freed up space, and let water blow through the whole gasket and basically destroy it. So when we were putting it under a load and you grab a hold of the throttle, it shot a geyser of water up into the hood, which would just wrap around and basically fill your carbs with water or soak the flamies and choke out the motor. So in this video, we're going to be taking off the B-pipe, cleaning up the gasket, putting a new gasket on it, get rid of all this watermark that's been there from, I guess, overheating. And then get new bolts in here instead of these. We'll put some stainless ones in. And the other thing we have to fix is the rubbing issue. It's going to be hard to tell, but in here, the pipe has been rubbing against the wall. I'm Fingers crossed it has not eaten through the pipe or the side of the hole that bad, but that very well could be a problem. So when we get this all apart to fix the gasket, we're going to see what that issue is. Other than that, this boat ran really good last year, and I have no complaints, but just want to get it ready for the spring, so we're going to do that. All right, guys, quick update. Pipe is off. Struggled a little bit because I didn't want to take out the gas tank, but this is not what you want to be seeing at all. Kind of at a loss because it really sucks. I mean, that's a lot of fiberglass gone. I mean, it started digging into the screws for the tubby. What's even worse is the pipe itself. I mean, paint's just one thing, but the screw for the tubby dug in really, really deep. Then you got two other little wear marks, which is nothing. This is all the way through on the weld. I mean, I don't know how to pressure test it. You can figure it out. And then on the bottom, so had a little wear mark already from the motor, but for the previous owner. So yeah, this is not at all what you want to see on a pipe when you spend a lot of money on paint, and especially with how expensive B pipes are nowadays. Then along with the B pipe, the hull just really blows, especially all the fiberglass work we already did in this boat. So it's not going to be just a quick fix with fixing this anymore. I mean, I guess my assumption was wrong too. I mean, I still put a 701 gasket on here. Maybe it was just a bad gasket, why it started to leak. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's sealed that much, to be honest, though. I mean, the amount of gasket touching up here is very slim. That sucks, too. Powder coat is gone. No. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do here right now. I guess I'll take this gasket off, clean up the engine bay, and go from there. See what the game plan is. Very depressing when I pulled that pipe out. But at the end of the day, it's just a jet ski. We'll get it fixed and back on the water. So this is a pretty good divot, as you can tell from where like the weld line was that was rubbing. But I don't want to peel up on it, but the whole ski is starting to like lift up and delaminate. You can see the big bubble when I push down on it over here. It travels back in. So I cut a straight edge so it doesn't keep catching, because it was frayed out all the way up to here, like spiderweb cracked. But I don't know if we just put some kitty hair over this or what we have to do. One of our tubby screws was poking through the side of the exhaust pipe too. I think that's what the major indent was. But from what I can tell, this didn't poke all the way through, which were good. So someone could just realistically throw another bead across this just to support, because this is flat, like someone just sanded it down. And then fill this and maybe over here. But then you got these two wear marks too that were here and here. And I don't know if it just got hot, but all the powder coating is just flaking. I mean, it hasn't come off on the front, but it just sucks. You could see where all the water was just blowing through on this gasket. But yeah, not what I was expecting. All right, just a little update on the round nose. So I started this roughly 2 months ago, a month ago, whatever you want to say. It's like March 21st. It's now like May 29th. Just lost track of time, didn't get to finish it, but finished it last night. And to fix the problem, first of all, new gasket, actual 61X gasket on there. Second of all, the pipe rubbing. We took the whole pipe, or took the whole ski apart, left the motor where it sat, but took the pipe out, took the gas tank out, and then I actually put the pipe back in without the gas tank. Reason for doing this, I did it all dry fitting, just left the gaskets on there just to like kind of get it roughly where it needed to be. But without the gas tank, I was able to move the water box around and figure out where it needed to be. And earlier on in this video, you would see that when I was like wiggling the camera around up there, this coupler was super tight against the firewall or wall. Now I can stick my finger between there. So what I actually did with the water box was took a big piece of foam, probably 1/2 inch thick, and slid it underneath the water box and strapped it back down. That creating more tension on the bands that hold it down just from it being stretched out, and it actually lifted the pipe up so I could get it off the bottom of the motor. If you look, and you can't really see at all, this pipe was rubbing against the motor mount and engine bed plate, so now it's no longer rubbing there. And I was able, since the bands are tighter now, like I said, move the water box over to the right. So now this pipe is no longer rubbing against the wall. And I also put a piece of HydroTurf back there, just as a preventative. Rather see the HydroTurf get, rubbed through than my wall. Also painted just a quick thing of resin just to seal the fiberglass that was all peeled up on the wall. But that's pretty much all I did. People were telling me, friends, when I was asking them what to do, they said that they've in the past cut their stock aluminum water boxes right down the middle and cut like 1/2 inch or less out of it to bring the pipe away from the wall. I don't know how to weld aluminum, nor did I want to pay for it. So I was just trying to figure out anything that I could do to get it right. And that's what I came up with. Just putting foam under there and just doing it by, playing around with it, figuring it out. So that's all I could say to recommend. Just if you know how to weld and you really want to cut into it, then go ahead. If you don't, just take your time, think about it, figure out what to do, what works with your situation. Every pipe is probably different a little bit. But now I got all the clearance in the world back there, clearance on the gas tank, clearance on the wall up there. Nothing's rubbing. So fingers crossed, nothing happens again in the future. Also, every year I clean my carbs. They fill up with crap, and it's just a day ruiner out in the lake. So I take them apart every year. People think I'm crazy, but here in Connecticut, the gas is really bad. So I always just take them apart, give them quick cleaning, just blow. That doesn't mean rebuilding them. All the gaskets are still fine. I just clean out the filters, make sure there's nothing in there, and you'd be surprised. Next time I'll take a video when I do it. But this boat's all ready for the season, and I'll give it a quick fire. So that's that. So like I got at earlier in the video. It's a 62D bottom end, 601X top end, Riva head with 185 or whatever. I get 185 PSI. They're 35 cc domes, I believe. B-pipe, MSD ignition, stock carbs, poison reeds in there, stock water box. But this is the O2 round nose SuperJet, I guess, fix the exhaust rub and water leak, whatever I want to call it. But yeah, that's that. If anybody else has that problem, I've never found a cure for it, so here's the boat.